Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
This is Matt.
and today we're going to be talking about Jagged Alliance. Just
Yeah, that's how I would describe our friendship, actually.
a Jagged Alliance.
Yeah, pretty good, huh? Pretty good joke.
Good joke. Nice segue there.
Little opening joke for
Little
everyone
opening
there.
joke for everyone. Well, we'll find out how our friendships last because apparently I lost a bet over the last month and need to read a prepared statement in a few moments.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I I'm I haven't read it yet, so I'm not nervous at all.
I want it
Anyway,
to flow naturally, though. Like we
wonderful.
can't. It's got to seem like you're. It's coming from the heart.
I'm sure
It's
it will come from something of me. Maybe the heart, maybe below the heart,
the colon.
the colon. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, uh, each month we pick a game. This month we pick Jagged Alliance. We play it for the month, and we come back and we talk about it. We should not construe this as a review. It's just our two opinions as to what we felt about the game. Each of the games was usually about 20 years old, but not always.
Give or take 10 years.
Give or take 10 years. Uh, okay. You want me to even read the before we start part? Or have I covered
Uh,
that?
no, let's do it. Let's go from after that.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You ready? You ready to feel this?
Yeah.
All right. We've been friends a long time, and we've been doing this video for over a year now, and I want to stop and acknowledge how lucky I am to get to spend time sharing these experiences with you. I've met many people, and I can safely say none have measured up to you, Matt, as an individual and as an all-around amazing specimen of humanity. You're the
Don't
smart...
laugh though. You can't laugh because it ruins it.
Okay. Matt, as an individual and an all-around amazing specimen of humanity. You're the
Thank
smartest
you.
person I've met, and I find your intellect humbling on a daily basis.
Oh wow,
No, I want
this
to
isn't
say this.
necessary.
No, this isn't some dumb thing I have to say because I lost a bet or something. This is coming from the bottom of my heart. Not only do I respect your immense intellect, but you're an amazing father, a kind and involved citizen of the planet, and from what I've been told by various reliable resources, a patient, highly erotic lover who knows exactly when to be gentle and when to be firm.
Keep going.
I'm
Keep going.
trying. Many women have told me that no one has ever been in tune with their bodies and their emotional needs as you have, and I believe them.
Yeah,
Even
that
though
sounds right.
even though our friendship is platonic, it's impossible not to notice that you exude a primitive, raw sexuality. I would have went with
Wow.
primal.
Yeah,
Primal would
that's
have
primal. Thank you.
primal. No, you aren't. Not at all. What were you gonna say here?
There's supposed to be pauses because this is supposed to be like a dialogue,
A dialogue? Okay.
and so I would say I'm just a regular person.
No,
It's like a script, but I took out my
you
lines,
took out your
so you
lines.
would.
Oh, see, then that's what's throwing me here. No, you aren't. Not at all. You're not a regular person. I think audience deserves to hear what an amazing person have the benefit of looking upon and listening to in these videos. You would never say this or make it apparent because you're as humble as you are brilliant, but I feel like the world has missed the boat in not elevating you to some kind of position of supreme power. Emperor
Wow.
or king or something. I dream of that world, Matt. I dream of it each night as I fall asleep and every morning when I wake up. I dream of it for my children and children everywhere.
Very good. I appreciate that.
You know what's funny? Like the only problem I have in any of this is the line I haven't read yet. That's all I wanted to say. Let's continue with the discussion before I come emotionally overwhelmed. There
Yeah.
is not a moment in see this is what would throw anybody who's like studying me and trying to find out if I mean this. That's all I want to say. I would never say that.
That's true.
I always have something else to say.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I wasn't really thinking
No.
about you when I wrote this, to
If you
be
want it
honest.
believable, you gotta think about is this what how Chris would sound.
Right. Right.
To be fair, I don't I thought this was gonna be much worse.
No, I didn't. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go overboard or anything. Like, you know,
I don't
highly
necessarily.
erotic lover. I mean,
Uh, well, we
that's
know.
believable. I mean, anyway, so let's talk about Jagged Alliance a
Let's talk
little
about
bit.
Jagged Alliance. See, you're not going to revel in this just a little more? You've just elevated
Well,
yourself to, and now you're more uncomfortable than I am.
I know, I know it's terrible. No, I don't even. Yeah, we had like a dumb bet about who was right about something in the
Oh,
forest, and
yeah,
it was me.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, we both looked up like what was the cave to get to the finale of the forest because we were traipsing around the woods for days looking for it. And I looked at the map and I'm like, it's right here, I swear. And he's like, okay, let's bet.
and there was no cave entrance.
No cave entrance. No cave
Like,
entrance.
I'm better at cheating than you are,
You are
I
better at
think. 'Cause
cheating.
we were
I'm
like,
not. I don't cheat.
yeah,
It's
we
not
were
something
gonna
I'm
do
good
it.
at.
We were gonna find it on natural, but
Hmm.
we just we
No,
cheated.
we cheated. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, so that's okay. You were right. I was wrong. I do think you're an amazing person and all those things.
Wow. Even the primal sexuality thing.
Sure.
That was your word. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
you said
I said
primal.
them. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got that beard going like a silverback. It's very nice.
It does make me appear larger to other males and
Exactly.
thus more threatening.
I'm threatened on a daily basis. Okay, we should probably actually get to what we came here for.
Yeah, that's to talk about
Let's talk about
Jagged
Jagged Alliance.
Alliance. What a game.
What a game.
This came out in 1994,
Mm-hmm.
in the summer of 94,
Summer of
when
'94.
I was a tender 14 years old.
Were you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't play it for many years, but then I played it later, kind of after XCOM and everything. And I think I liked it more when I was a kid than I did now,
Me too.
now that I'm older.
Me too. Do you know why?
Um, I think at the time it probably felt more kind of edgy, like it's got that action movie vibe and you're blasting people, and there's some really great like death animations that probably appealed to me when I was a kid, and now it doesn't seem that
It's
great, and like I'm more worldly now, I guess you could
yeah.
say.
It's more 80s action movie. It's got that very
Yeah.
you're going into a place with palm trees and dictators and crazy
Yeah.
science gone wrong and you're going to shoot up a bunch of mercenaries and I can normally firmly get behind that. Um,
Yeah. And it did use the DOS4GW extender, which I don't know why, but like every game that used that I loved as a kid. Like I never disliked a game that used the DOS4GW extender. Like Duke Nukem used it. I think Doom used it.
yeah.
There were a bunch.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm kind of curious about that now.
It was like a DOS memory manager because the main memory manager wasn't that great in DOS, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm
Let you
wondering.
like address more memory.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to look for. It was developed by Rational Systems. I'm looking for did they have to license it? And maybe that's the difference
Oh.
is that good games could afford to license the extender as opposed to either not using anything or having to build their own.
Yeah, or make like kids figure out how to make boot discs, which is what
Yeah.
I did with most of my childhood.
It says it has trouble with secondary DMA channels and the Isobus. So the
Oh
Gravis
boy.
ultrasound didn't want to work with it very well.
Oh, see, I was a Sound Blaster kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Me
but
too.
the Gravis made awesome shit.
Gravis did. The Sound Blaster was like, I don't want to say it was the poor kids because we had computers, but like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, like Turtle Beach and Gravis. That was like the fancy sound cards.
yeah. Turtle Beach was always one of those like, oh man, who can afford one of those? I want one.
Do you remember that Gravis gamepad that had like the four
Yeah,
like
I had
rainbow
one.
colored buttons? Everyone had one of those
Yeah,
things in the 90s.
yeah.
Everyone.
They're cheap. They're like $10 for the gamepad, and you got a
Yeah.
gamepad. What I love about it is everyone had one, can you think of a game that really you didn't play platform games on the PC. You did keyboard and mouse for everything.
Yeah, or joystick,
Or
like
joystick, flight
your
simulators.
Thrustmaster
Yeah.
deal.
You weren't gonna fly that with a gamepad.
No,
So
and it had the little joystick that you could screw into the top, so you could use it like a joystick, but really poorly.
no, you weren't gonna do that. Yeah.
Yeah, what were we thinking with that Gravis thing?
I don't know. I
Because we
think
all had them.
everybody had one. Probably a lot of people got them from parents who are like, "Oh, my son likes video games. Here's a controller."
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
anyway, so we're
So
about 20 minutes into this, and we have not said a damn thing about
about
Jagged Alliance.
Alliance. Uh yeah. Well, we said it came out in 1994 and that it
That's
used the
true.
DOS4GW extender, and it
That's all
was
you need to know. Have fun.
is published through SirTech.
Yeah, who oddly enough is the company that did Wizardry, which is the last
Yeah, I
game we
wasn't.
played last month.
Yeah, I wasn't planning that symbiosis, but worked out well. It had a lot of sequels to this game. This game has a lot of sequels. Uh, I think the second one is good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we both probably landed on this. Was if you're gonna play Jagged Alliance, just skip the first one,
Play the second one.
play
There's
the
just a
second
lot of
one.
quality of life stuff, and we'll go into that as we go on. But Jagged Alliance
Yeah,
2 did a lot of quality of life, ease of gameplay things that were just better,
yeah,
while maintaining the formula and not losing it.
right.
Um, I think it's interesting that they put the credits at the front.
Yeah, let's get the video going here,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe we can see.
Let people
I don't know if you
actually.
have the credits in there. Like the intro's pretty great. There's some good pixel art. There it is.
Here it should come. Yep, there we go.
All right,
SirTech.
great logo.
Yeah, I love this opening little animation too.
Hmm. It's like perfect for the time. Look at
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, and here they go doing credits.
Yeah, what an odd choice.
Hmm.
Um, they someone so like this Jagged Alliance intellectual property, like you said, they trotted this around
A lot
for
of
many
push.
years,
Yeah.
and I was reading on Wikipedia right before we started. Someone optioned the movie rights for this in like 2007, which you would think, you know, I'm gonna sneeze here in a second.
Yeah.
Uh, that went away. Sorry.
Okay. I think it's interesting that for those of you old enough to remember, like in the 80s, Ocean Software licensed a lot of video game or movie things to turn into video games because it was cheap. You could just option it, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't care. We're not going to make any money at video games." And then by the 90s, early 90s, they started realizing that there's a little tie-in crossover magic that they could use to help promote their movie, and they might not make a lot of money at the game, but if they can get the game to come out at the same time, it generates hype.
yeah.
um, so then prices started going up, but in the beginning it was really cheap because they just be like, yeah, whatever, have the video game rights, we don't care. And so you get really crappy video games.
Right.
I i think that sort of happens with some video games now going back the other direction, where people are trying to make movies off, things they remember, like, oh, wouldn't this be a great movie? And now I'm older and I'm in a position to do it and I can get it cheap. And
I
um,
just like I don't I could see that with like Doom, which everyone played, but like who you're gonna this is gonna be a Yui Bowl kind of movie if it ever gets made at all. Which let's be honest,
you want to
it's not.
watch you want to watch this as a movie? Watch the
Well,
expend
yeah,
watch the
yeah,
expend
I kind of do.
watch the Expendables.
Oh yeah, right.
That's a good Jagged Alliance movie
Yeah, without being Jagged
without
Alliance.
being Jagged Alliance. My problem is, and we're going to talk about this from moment to moment here, and it's the thing that turned me off to this game because I had super fond memories of this game,
Hmm.
and there's some stereotypes that are just deep in the casual racism that really I wasn't paying attention to as a kid, but now I hear it
Right.
and it's disheartening. Um,
Yeah, I think you know the thing that made Jagged Alliance stand out was that everyone like in your crew had a personality and like they would disobey your orders and you know
Mm-hmm.
they were like individuals and they interacted together, which is a great mechanic,
Great
but
mechanic.
so much of the flavor text and uh, and the voice acting is really uh, not on point. Like
Nope.
like Tex, the Asian cowboy guy, is probably the worst of them. And like we're not in any position to tell people how
I
they
was
should
gonna
feel
say
about this. Like if it doesn't bother you, that's cool. You know, have
right.
fun.
We were talking last night. I was like, where on the spectrum of racism this is? Like with Mario being on one side and Uncle Tom's Cabin being on the other. This is a few shades off the Mario stereotype. You're not. It's not horribly offensive. Like Tex, the Asian cowboy, is he's Japanese, he's pretending to be a cowboy, and he's carrying a camera. It's all this sort of stereotype 101
Yep.
stuff. But I like Tex. Like I
Right.
like I'm
Right.
torn
He's
because
great. Yeah.
they've done this and yet I like him as a character. I like who he is. I like his attitude and how he plays. They still express the character behind the stereotype. But I also can't defend them. Like this is not a defense of them. And I want to get off this topic as fast as possible because two white guys talking about racism
Yeah.
is
It just seemed cheap to me. Like even and they're all like to some degree based on stereotypes. Like there's a Valley Girl. You know.
yeah, everybody's a
Uh,
stereotype in this game because they have to keep it concise and let you know exactly who it is, but there's a couple cases where the stereotypes are punching down instead of up,
right. Yep.
you know. So,
Whoa.
oh, shoot.
Uh oh.
Oh, there it goes.
There we go. So it strikes me that you're doing quite well here with your 17,000 at day 4.
Yeah,
You're clearly better at this than I was. I struggled with a lot of the mechanics.
I know
I
you
made
did.
a
Yeah.
lot of mistakes.
I think it's because they hide the numbers on you.
Hmm.
So, like when we're playing XCOM, there's a percentage chance to take a shot.
Right.
In this, it's how many, and this is the thing I do like better than XCOM, where you can keep right clicking and improve your aim. So you can,
Yeah.
it's an action point strategy game. So as you move from sector to sector, oh, I need to keep this going. I stopped this. All right, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Once we get into combat,
I
we'll
might
kind of
stop
see
here and
more.
pause this for a second. Let's talk about this
Yeah.
map.
This is a great mechanic. This is a good, like, this is the whole world of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not super easy to look at, but you're kind of managing, like you have tappers that tap the trees.
So yeah, going down here, you've got green dots that are trees or black dots in sectors you haven't taken over. Yellow dots are the people you've hired to tap the trees. The blue dots are the guards you put in a territory to protect it.
Yep.
Because
And your team is like white once you place them.
yeah, once you place them, you'll have a white team down here to place. Um, and you need to put guards in these places because the tappers and the trees are what's going to earn you money back.
Hmm.
But they're going to keep trying to push back at you, and I think that's fantastic. This isn't a game that's just you walking around the map taking things Pac-Man style. The enemy is actively working to take back territory, and you need to guard and move troops around and kind of keep an eye on that level of organization while sending your team out to claim new ground.
Yep. Yeah. The strategy part of it is really good.
Really satisfying. Because they're going to give you tasks like the first one is before you can even start taking money, you have to take back one of the devices from the filter machine. Otherwise, you can't even start making money.
Yeah. That's like day 1.
Day one. Then day two, day three, they tell you, oh, they're poisoning the water supply. If you want to keep having troops, you have to go take that back. So you can follow the river up and go, okay, here must be where the water supply is, because they don't tell you where it is. They're like, go to the source of the water,
Right.
take back the water supply. So you have to sort of take in what that means and where that is.
Yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
you
it's not a puzzle, but it requires a tiny bit of critical thinking. It's not
right.
handed to you on a
No.
plat. Same with the day one thing. I was like, well, where the hell am I going to find this
They don't know either, so they
part?
can't put it on
Yeah.
your map for you. There's no marker that's going to give you a big red X that says, go here, take this. Uh, that said, the third one, they actually give you a kind of red X because they tell you what sector her lab used to be in, and she
Oh,
wants you to take that back. But that's fair. They actually know where the lab is.
yeah.
Now, and you can ignore all of that if you want. There's nothing that would stop you if you're good enough and want to just put money into a bunch of really quality people to just march them straight over and up and take out the final sector. If you can push through that far in a day, maybe you sprint, maybe you don't get in battles and you just sort of zigzag your way through avoiding combat to get all the way to the end and do it. Um,
Yeah.
it's a completely open world strategy game that lets you play your way. I want to like this game more than I do.
Yeah.
It's a game full of really, it's the opposite of Auto Duel. It's a game full of good systems with bad ideas, where Auto Duel was full of good ideas with bad systems.
Yeah. That pretty much sums it up. Like the problem I had with it. Well, and the other thing you didn't touch on too was we didn't really talk about the recruiting, which is an interesting system because you're like tapped into this network of
Should I go back
agents.
there?
Yeah, yeah. Like here, so they've all got stats. Right now, you're looking at their equipment, which is also an interesting thing to manage. I think we'll talk about equipment more.
Let me go
But
back a little bit.
yeah. So like there, you can see their how much they cost, and then they all have skills, and like that stuff makes a big difference. Because like
I was
you
hoping I
know,
had the info down here. Like they give a little history on the person that'll tell you what kind of person they are, whether you can
yeah,
expect them to disobey orders or snitch on other people, or um,
some of them can't swim,
some of
and
them
like
can't
sometimes
swim.
they tell you, sometimes they don't. Uh, so this is a really interesting system too, because you can get into trouble just like my first game. I had recruited, a full party, and only one of them, I think it was Fidel, had the Colt 45, and everyone else had the 38. So I didn't have any ammo for him.
Yep.
Like he ran out of ammo the first day because I didn't pay attention to their equipment when I recruited them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
Go
go
ahead.
on. No, go on.
I was going to say, which is a double-edged sword because of the fucking ridiculous reliance on the pocketed vests.
Yes.
So annoying. Like you're a world traveling assassin, and you're going to show up with a two-pocket vest
Or no vest in some
or
cases.
no vest. Yeah, like you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
The first 3 days, you're just looking like begging for a
Well,
5-pocket vest.
yeah, you're looking for more pockets in your vest. The other thing I love is that this is a world-class mercenary organization, and they come like mall cops with 6 shooters.
Right. They've got nothing, and this is the other thing that drove me crazy about the gear. You can't buy anything.
No.
You only find it, which is ridiculous and annoying. Like if I run out, like I should be able to buy some clips for Ivan.
Yeah.
You know,
We
come
should
on.
be able to, as a mercenary company, procure some armaments for our men here. Um,
Yeah,
I understand, like, okay, make it take a couple days to get to the island. You know, uh, make it if the war's going bad, the shady dealer on the dock says, well, I'm not really keen to do business with you, so I'm gonna, pour some salt in the wound and charge you more. Um,
sure.
or have him give you secret missions too that might actually go against your real. There's a whole potential here that could have been implemented and just was missed.
But regardless, I should be able to get this guy a fucking JanSport backpack so he can carry some stuff into the field. This vest thing, it did not work for me
Well,
at
okay.
all.
Do you got any pockets in your pants? Like, how about some cargo
Right,
pants? How about a
right.
belt?
Anything, anything.
A small sack you carry in one hand.
Oh, it was so frustrating
I'm
because,
sorry.
like, yeah, no, that's okay. I got a little upset there, but just the vest thing is so stupid.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah. It is. But I understand it. It's a mechanic, and it's
Yeah.
meant to limit you so you're not carrying 1,000 clips and everything else, and you got to pick what you want and what you leave behind.
Sure.
I never got to it in mine because it takes a few days of actually getting to stuff, but there's a crafting system in this game where you can
Yeah,
combine things together to make new things and improve things, and um, I love
that's
that.
very cool.
It's very
Yeah.
cool. It's another thing that was sort of underdeveloped and needed some more attention on it, but it was a really cool thing. Oh, the other thing I should
Yeah.
say about recruiting, going back to that real quick. Not everyone will work with you day one.
Yeah, which I liked because you can't build like this super team of badasses.
No,
Uh,
they're either already on assignment or you got to build trust or you're working with the wrong person and they don't want to come over. Sometimes they'll come over even if you're working with the wrong person and then they'll murder them overnight and you will lose that person.
yep. Great.
Great mechanic.
Yep.
Like Fidel tells me he doesn't like Hurl, the next day Hurl ends up missing. I'm like, Fidel,
Yeah,
trying to
we
run a
need to
professional
we need to talk
organization
about this,
here.
buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. This
But
is
what
your
you gonna do?
warning. As Hurl, I didn't care that
The
much.
guy shows up with detonators. Are you really
Right?
gonna discipline him?
Yep. I think
He already disappeared someone.
yeah.
But that is and like we touched on it earlier, but that's what really made this game stand out at its time was they your party is not just
Right.
it's not like XCOM where any personality is, from your imagination. Like they all have a personality. There's like some of them are like eager beaver, let's go get them kind of
Mhm.
guys, and then some of them are like salty,
Yeah.
which is great.
Right.
Like overall, problems aside, as a mechanic, that's pretty good. And
It is.
there's going to be people that you don't like the
Yes.
Valley Girl. I hated her.
Oh.
Like I was willing to sacrifice her life for nothing. Like just
Good luck.
yeah, go
Hope,
for it, lady,
hope you
because you
die.
are driving me
And
bonkers.
she won't work with her brother.
Yeah, the Roachburn family. Yeah, there's a story there.
There's a story there. And
That would be a good spin-off game.
the Roachburns.
It's like The Sims.
Yep.
They're all mercenaries.
Well, and again, that's what made this game great. The mechanics backed up and supported that dynamic in a way that was interesting and made you think and plan your teams like, okay, I can't have these people work together. So am I
Mhm.
going to take somebody who costs more to keep that level of skill, or am I going to take somebody who costs less and maybe isn't as good? Am I going to take a bunch of cheap people and put them through training? Uh,
Right.
in which
And I,
case my team is limited when I go out in the field because they're back doing target practice.
yep. I tried all those things. So I started and lost about 4 or 5 games of this, just trying various things to build a good team. Like, uh, one thing I learned is if they ever call out in the person's bio that they have any kind of weakness at all, like there's some of them that are like, well, he hasn't responded well to learning marksmanship. Like, just don't take that guy.
Yeah.
Don't take turtle. They say turtle slow. They're right. Don't take turtle because
Turtle's
he'll
slow.
he will fuck up your Christmas. Like,
Yeah.
don't take him. He's a nightmare. No, you can train him for days, and
He's not
he's not gonna be good. He's
No.
not gonna be as good as your other worst guy.
No. Yeah.
So that's like strategy point number one.
No, my recommendation usually is to get your hands on Ivan and Fidel as fast as possible. You don't understand a
Yes.
thing Ivan's saying, but he's a good shot. Fidel, when you start shooting at a target, have Fidel in a good position because he's not going to stop until that guy dies.
Oh yeah. Yep. He'll stop in a door. He doesn't care.
No, he's going to
It's
stand there
really
and
annoying.
shoot until the guy's dead.
Which again, I liked a lot.
Right?
What I didn't like is all these fucking trees on this island. That basically, like, the sameness of the sectors kind of ruined this game for me ultimately.
Yeah.
because it's always the same. Like
No.
every combat situation is ultimately stop the guy from getting into the trees if you can. If he gets in the trees
You
and
got
you
to
don't
flush
have
them out.
grenades, yeah, then you got to just like uh, try to get at him, or you can try to shoot through the trees, but you're going to run out of ammo.
Yeah.
The
You
cover system is like you can hit F9 and it'll tell you how many enemies they see, but that's not useful
no.
information. Like you don't know if you have a shot at these guys or not.
No. Yeah, you don't have any indication as to how good your shot is or something. You got to kind of eyeball it yourself. And so usually what I end up doing is just run up to the tree next to them and point blank shoot at them, which means I've got to dodge bullets to get my guys up there.
Hmm.
Um,
Like that shit right there.
yeah,
You just shot a tree.
yeah.
Yeah,
Although,
that's
was that? I didn't see who that was who was just shooting. Was it Fidel? Like he's able to. Oh, went a little too far back. I just want to see who's shooting. No, that's Fidel. So that must be. Who is that?
Bud.
Bud,
Is that
maybe?
Bud or Vinny?
Yo. Um,
Yep.
Vinny says yo a lot. It's Bud.
Yeah, he does.
So, like, Bud's got a. You can't see my finger pointing, but there's like a 45-degree between trees. He's still going to tag one because it sometimes goes off at an angle, but I put everything into aiming and got him.
Yeah,
Uh,
the aiming system is good because you can, like you said earlier, you can dump more action points into your aiming. So you're kind of balancing like how many shots can I get off versus how many am I
yeah.
going to hit with any of them.
Yeah, and so you see,
Uh,
like, I moved Ivan up to minimize the number of trees between us, but then you better hit because hitting lowers their accuracy.
mhm.
And yeah, if you hit, you're fine. If you don't, they're going to turn and shove the gun to your head and pull the trigger. Um,
I felt I felt this is just my take on it. That the combat system punishes you too much for moving. Like it takes too long to move. You're not really flexible in combat, uh, you know, as you could be. Like there's no option to like dash or
there's no
anything.
there's no dash in this one. There's no dash and there's no fire while crouched. I believe the second one lets you. I don't totally remember because I haven't played it recently. But,
Yeah,
but a lot of the stuff that I'm remembering being able to do, I'm like, was that XCOM or was that this? I'd have loved to see a duck and shoot or a crouch and shoot or some more cover stuff. But
yeah.
it was their first game. Um, SirTech is not exactly known for its strategy games, so that this snuck out at all, I'm kind of letting some of it slide by. Um, you
Yeah,
can shoot your own people.
yeah. I definitely shot my own people frequently.
Am I doing a grenade? I'm doing a
Usually
grenade.
not on purpose. Excuse me. Yeah, the grenades. Excuse me. The grenades are worth their weight in gold
Yeah.
because you can't buy them,
Nope.
and but they're like how to solve a problem. They're like problem resolution balls.
Yes.
Like I
Got two
got
guys
this.
behind trees. All right,
Yep.
now I don't.
Yep.
Because it
Uh,
knocks them down, so it takes them out for the next round if you don't kill them. And probably you're going to kill them.
yep. Yeah. The grenades are great, but again, they're precious.
Yep. Yeah.
But this fighting in trees business, it just got too boring. Like it's the only kind of cover you don't know. Some of it's like some of it you can shoot through more reliably. I think that's the impression I got. But you don't really know.
I think it might not have been as bad or as boring if the game of hide and seek wasn't so tedious. Like when you're
Yes.
looking for the enemy and walking around and you're spending 15 minutes just listening to K C K C
Right. Must
K
be Hector, huh?
C. Yeah, Hector just wandering through the whole thing over and over again trying to figure out where the enemy is. Or
Right.
Nakresh, 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 Nakresh.
Yep. Okay, the Valley
Okay,
Girl,
the belly.
she's the
Okay,
worst.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
So
why I
like
can't.
at the end of the day, when you're all beat to shit, and there's like one guy that you put like a bunch of rounds in earlier, and he just snuck away.
Hmm.
That is so agonizing. And like the pathfinding's not great, and like I said, you can't really move a lot with what they give you.
Like
Uh,
my stream you watched the other day where my guy's gun jammed and everything.
yeah.
So I came in on one side of the river to sweep down that side, and then I was going to go across and come up the other side. And just some stuff happened, so I reloaded to kind of be on the other side of the river and come down and get him right away.
Hmm.
And then the game put him on the other side when I logged in, when I reloaded the thing, so he was on the other side anyway. So I still had to like sweep the whole map to find this guy. And it's one guy, and I had 8 people coming. I'm like, give me a move until contact option.
Right.
Don't make me action point the moments between combats. Let me move through here at a reasonable pace until somebody finds somebody.
Yeah.
That would have made the game much better.
Yeah, and it seems like to get between cover to really advance, because like the reality is that you're going to be in a bunch of situations where you just have to advance across open terrain, which sucks.
Hmm. So
But
let
there's
me
just
dash.
no way around it. Yeah, let me
Yeah,
do something.
this
Like,
leisurely meander is
right, show some hustle.
right. I'm paying you for this.
Yeah, no kidding. You want to get killed?
Oh, and let's talk about that because there is a time limit on the day. Like you've
Right.
got so much time each day to achieve what you need to achieve, and then you bug off back to the main base. So, and you can sometimes that day's enough to take 2 or 3 sectors. Sometimes you get so beat up in the first one,
Hmm.
you have to just sit there and let the day run out because you're going to need to heal up tomorrow. You can't risk going into another sector.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing you have to manage too. Like you can see on your left, you've got Hurls, working on Gary, Hector, and Elroy there.
Hmm.
So they're like not viable for combat that day, and you have to make some pretty tricky decisions about like, am I going to put this guy who's half dead out there just so
Right.
I have enough bodies, to do what I need to do? Uh,
Yeah, like for this case, I think I fired half my team to start this day up because the other half were just as banged up. There was one day I ran where I put nobody out. I put everybody was doing healing or something. And
mhm.
the guy comes in and's like, I don't know what you think you do. We're paying you for this. You're supposed to be out there making stuff happen, but somehow you held the day without deploying a single troop. Like, well,
Yeah, fuck
and
you, buddy. Like you manage a mercenary
right?
team.
Well, and then 8 of my guards quit that night because they didn't get any backup.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that I think is it's not just a tactical game, it's a personnel game. And it's
right.
personnel at a level of you have to worry about their feelings, which is not something you normally get from a mercenary game.
Hmm.
Like you're worried about, oh, how is Fidel going to feel about this? I don't want to hurt Fidel's feelings.
Right. And Fidel is quite sensitive, I
Quite,
find.
yes, Fidel is a sensitive individual.
Deceptively sensitive.
Yes. Ivan,
Um,
I don't think you can upset.
no, no.
No.
And if he is upset, you have no idea
You
because
have
he
no
speaks
idea.
Russian.
He speaks
Yeah.
Russian, so I have no idea.
I
Yeah,
wonder, like, if that can be translated.
probably.
I don't really want to know, though, because it's
Right.
probably going to.
No, I like Ivan now, and I don't want to find out he's the most racist one in the bunch. Like he's
Right.
actually more racist than Tex.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of ignorance right now. I'm just rolling with.
Yep. Great hat, too, on Ivan.
Great
And
hat, Ivan.
Fidel.
Yeah, well, the hat is a little.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
both Ivan and Fidel. Um,
Yeah.
I like that. Like the portraits are animated. Like occasionally you'll
Hmm.
see him look around and stuff like that.
Yeah. Uh, I will say, like, I think. Whoa, poor Bud. Uh,
Yeah.
I think overall, I didn't like the combat system, which is most of the game. Uh, but they did a decent job keeping it kind of fresh. Like there's one sector where like a bridge explodes when you step on whatever. So there's like little things, and you find crates, which is all right. But
You
but it
and you, go on.
there's some variety. Like, um, what were you gonna say before I
I was gonna
get
say
started on
the
water?
further you push in, the more interesting weapons you get. Like you'll get submachine guns, you'll get automatic rifles, you'll get I want to say you get like a rocket launcher by the end. You get landmines. You really your arsenal improves because of the scavenging mechanic. So
Hmm.
it does start creating new dynamics in terms of what you want to do with people. Like further in this game, Ivan gets a silencer,
Hmm.
which means I can go take people out without drawing attention if I use Ivan. And that's sometimes pretty cool because otherwise, once you fire your gun, the enemies start to hear it and they start running to that section to try and figure out who's shooting a gun.
Hmm.
You can get an extended ear, which lets you actually hear enemies move if they're within a such and such range,
Hmm.
which will help you find them in the game of hide and seek, but also let you sneak up on them in a way because they don't always see you right away. But you're not always sure because they haven't really implemented a good like line of sight, cone sight mechanic where you can figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. There's one that lets you listen through walls. That's really nice. Like,
Hmm. Is
it's
anybody
cool
in
because,
there?
yeah, it like plays the audio for you, or it'll say like silence, and then it'll play like static, which is cool. Like,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like the equipment overall.
Hmm.
It
Right.
is hard to get over the hump though. To that point, like it's not a game where you're gonna coast. Like, you might coast the first day,
Yeah.
but after that, it's pretty unforgiving.
It's gonna start
Uh,
getting real, and he's gonna start sending troops at you, and you're gonna have to start defending and maintaining your money and stuff like that.
yeah, and you'll like lose sectors that are crucial to
Hmm.
like
Yeah, you got to
in
manage
the
your
middle of the
sector
day.
expansion too. Like you can't just push a big arm out because if he cuts it off, you lose your sectors you've captured over there.
Yeah,
So you got to grow in sort of a blob thing and that helps minimize how many troops you have actually deployed to save you money. Um, I wouldn't say this should be the game if you want to learn about old tactical strategy games. I wouldn't start here.
no,
If you've played all of the other ones and you're looking for something new, start with Jagged Alliance 2. If you really get into the series, go back and see where it started. Um, I don't know that I'd do any of the remakes. None of the remakes seem to be getting any. I stopped playing after a while, some of them, because they just weren't good to me, and then I lost track of it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this scratches your XCOM itch. Like, if you liked the original XCOM, uh, you might like this. Like, I think XCOM is a better game, a better engine, in a better world than this. But
Hmm.
if you like, small squad tactical games from the mid '90s, well, here you go.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I'd love to see something like. I'd love to see an XCOM spinoff called XCOM Terror Mission, where there's a city that uses this grid system,
That would be cool.
and you've got to free the city from the chrysalids, pushing your way through and taking sectors and leaving squaddies behind to guard them.
Yeah, yeah. Like, that's the best part of the game is managing that overland map.
Hmm.
This system, uh, I feel like maybe we haven't quite dogged on it enough, because I found it quite tedious, especially with being able to move so little
I
every turn, and the way it degrades as they get hurt. Like, you can start the day moving 22, and by the end of the day you're moving like 7.
well, and make sure you bring a canteen to help with that. But
Right, right.
the
Which is
other
more bullshit to put in your 5 pocket
right,
vest if you're lucky.
if you're lucky. The other thing I think makes it tedious, and I think how I was able to win before is we didn't have a lot of games, so I was able to push through the initial tedious. But as you get up to rifles, as you get up to things with good aim, as you get your people up to a skill level that's impressive, these long drawn out gunfights in thick trees go away because
Yeah,
you're picking them off from a ways away. And you're accurate enough that even if they're behind a tree or two, that's not going to be enough for them.
yeah,
Um, and then you have your handful of grenades to solve the problems of when they're really dug in.
right. But the
So,
problem is like,
but you got to get to it.
right, and it's not fun to get there. That was my problem.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, it's satisfying when you're winning sectors and taking people out uh, and find. I guess when you're finding things, although the looting system's very tedious, also. Like even after you've taken a sector,
You still got to walk to the item.
hunt around, get it in someone's pack.
Hmm. And they will
Uh,
take the action points away when no one's in the sector. So,
right,
like, if the sector is completely yours, you can walk around, but still only one guy at a time.
right. Well, you can move all. There's a way to move
Was there
all,
a way to
which
move all?
yeah, you like left click and then right click, and it'll move all your guys
Oh,
at once.
that'd have been handy to
That's
know.
that's handy when you're traversing.
Mm-hmm.
Traversing is also weird. It's how you move from sector to sector in this combat
Yep.
map, but all your guys have to traverse to the same sector, and they all have to be together.
But the nice
So
thing
that can
about
be
that is you
annoying.
can kind of pick where in the sector you're going to go. So you can be like left side or right side, and you can kind of control
True.
where you're coming in on the next map. So if you know the map, or you look at the big one and get a sense of like, okay, I want to be on this side of the, river or something like that,
Hmm.
you can kind of control where they come in, which is handy. Um,
Yeah.
my favorite is coming into a sector and having a guy immediately there, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I was just 5 feet to the right. Like
Right.
I was
Right.
just here. Now I'm here. Now we're gonna have a gunfight.
Their their visibility stops at that sector.
Yeah.
They can't see. They're walled
They're
off.
like, out of my jurisdiction, man. Oh well, you crossed the line. Now we gotta have a gunfight.
Yeah. Totally.
So.
But yeah, that system's kind of weird, but I get it. Like it ties to the map
Hmm.
to the overland combat. The fact that the enemies don't ever like you get the impression they want to. Like I think this guy would love to traverse north out of here, but they don't. They the enemies can't.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't look like they
sometimes you wind
can.
up with them way at the top and just picking them off, which is
Hmm.
kind of weird.
Yeah, and sad. Like
Yeah.
I wish since they can push into a sector, I would have loved it if they could have pushed out of a sector. I'd have been fine with routing enemies. Um, I'd have been fine with him having a total number of troops, like maybe just a ton, but then it thins out, so you could actually go in, pick off some, and come back. That'd have been a cool mechanic too. And I don't, maybe he does, but you don't feel like it. You don't. It doesn't feel that way.
No,
Um,
it only ever like you'll get one of your dudes will say that's the last guy, and it never happens unless you
right.
kill someone. So I don't think he's
No.
taking troops out.
No. And some of the stuff we're talking about, like we don't know, and we're usually ones for saying read the manual. Manual doesn't really tell you. It's serviceable. It gets you in the game, but a lot of this is figure it out as you go. So there's sort of a puzzly element to things too. What'd you think of the manual?
I thought the manual was pretty good, and there's a quick reference card too that's very very useful.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely definitely look through that because there's some things that aren't really intuitive, like how to make your guys look. Like in XCOM, that was really intuitive. In this
Yeah.
game, it's not. It's a weird combination of left and right clicks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the opposite of how to get everyone to move at once. One's like hold left, click right, and the other one's like hold right, click left.
So I ended up
Uh,
just never doing it. Like I never made anybody look.
yeah, and it's not all that necessary,
No.
really, which is also kind of a shame.
Yep.
Uh, from you kind of talked about how you have to figure things out as you go. So let's just talk real quick about the things that we figured out as we did this.
Okay.
So the first thing that I was messing up was not taking the time to equip my guys properly before the day. Like, you really, really have to think about
Your day's equipment. And
about
you
what
have
you're
to
sending people out with.
find where
Yep.
that is. Like, that is
Right.
not an obvious. It's not
Right.
intuitive. Let me
You,
see.
you click on the money thing
Yeah, let me
under team. Yeah, let's there. Yeah.
go back, 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 go back. Yeah, here's where I'm outfitting them for the day, so I must be close.
Yep.
Okay, let's start
Yeah.
from here. So we'll watch. I'm moving guards
We're
around
putting
because I don't have
guards up.
enough guards to cover all my things. I'm clicking on my team, but that's not it. I'm clicking on money. Team lets you deploy the team. Money actually takes you in here. And then you got to click on their face to go into gear and select what
Yep.
they're going to do.
So this screen is key because it's how you manage who's on duty and how you manage their gear, which is super important. So like,
You,
never send anyone out without like at least three clips. I would say. My go-to is 4 boxes of ammo
yeah,
or four
4 or 5.
four.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always do 4 because you find ammo and it's 5 per slot.
Mm-hmm. So this
So if
gives
you
you
have
room to
5,
grab
that's a
one.
new slot.
Yeah.
So
Um, be really careful when you're equipping guns because the 45 and the 9mm look very close to each other. And a couple times I've sent people out with the wrong ammo for a gun.
yep. I really like the voice. If you right click on an item, it'll like
Yes.
describe it. It's
A
like a
crowbar.
45 in good condition. Awesome.
Yeah, there's this sort of sexy guy voice going on like a
Yeah.
Kevlar helmet.
Ooh. Tell me more.
A 5-pocket vest.
That's the stuff. That's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Fucking 5-pocket vest.
Man, yep. And here I'm like, oh wait, I got a 3. Now I'm at 4.
Yep, you spend a lot of time taking vests off people that aren't on duty and putting them on people that are
Yeah. Playing dress up with
that
your
are
mercenaries is a little bit
Yep,
of time.
right. And like the weird detonators he comes with, like you don't need those the first couple days at all,
No,
so
not
just get
until
rid of
you
those.
disarming other stuff. I think you're not supposed to have him as early in as I do, but
Yeah.
I I think you're supposed to take and sort of burn through the cheap mercenaries, but
I always take Fidel right away.
I do now, yeah. Fidel and Ivan. My
Yep.
team.
So that's the other tip. Like, pay a lot of attention to who you recruit, uh, and not just their medical, explosive, mechanic, marksmanship, but also their stats. Because
They
if you
matter.
take someone who's slow, that's the main thing. Don't
Hmm.
take anyone who's slow, because like I keep saying, it's so tedious to move around these screens in turn-based mode.
That is going to be the thing that breaks this game for people. Is
Yep.
how long it takes to move people into position and to keep the party moving and everything like that.
Yep. And the pathfinding too is really frustrating because you can see with your eyes and your brain that they're taking a very inefficient path, but otherwise you have to move them a step at a time.
Well, so here's the thing that you might not be taking into consideration on when they do these snaky paths. Each of these tiles, and you can barely see it, is slightly different color gradations because they might require slightly different action points to move through.
Oh, so it finds the minimum
Minimum
path.
action points to get you to where you want to go. But that may not be what's important to you if you're trying to stay in cover.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that can be annoying.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other things like that you should? So always equip your troops. Pay attention to their movement and their equipment.
Uh,
You can take a bunch of sectors the first day, no problem, but don't expect to do that every day.
no.
Oh yeah, figure out who can swim. That's a
Yeah.
big one because some of them just can't swim. Like you put them in water over their head
And they'll
and
drown.
they die. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also
Some. That's
snakes.
what I was about to say. There are also snakes that seem completely arbitrary to me. And if you had a knife equipped, you can kill them, but not always.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
kind of a
and it doesn't sort of matter what your health was at, what your anything was at. If that guy hits a snake and can't kill it, he's dead.
it's like a saving throw versus snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. That I didn't like the snake mechanic. I think you get a lot of experience for fighting snakes, but come on.
Right.
The whole water thing, it's cool because it like damages your equipment sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and it can mess you up. But the fact that they just kind of randomly die,
Is
uh,
too harsh.
yeah, and I mean the whole point of the game is that all these people have these personalities and they're not going to follow orders. But you don't know how to swim, but you'll trot right into the water and drown. Like, come on,
Yeah.
tell me no. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm dragging back here on this because I want to see if this started. So this sector, like when they go to move people in, I don't know if it's shelling or what happens, but buildings start exploding when they
Oh,
try to
cool.
retake it. And if you're in one of the buildings, you'll die. And if they're in one of the buildings that gets shelled, they'll die too. So it is fair, but you have no way of knowing that a building's going to explode for what appears to be no reason.
Yeah,
Like here he's telling me he hasn't been spotted. I like that. Like they give
yeah,
little things like that that say, "Oh, I've spotted an enemy, but he can't see me."
yep.
But not always. They don't always tell you that. And if it's Ivan, you wouldn't know anyway.
Right, because it's in Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one. So I took Fox for my doctor one time.
Hmm.
And Bud tells me because it was the day I kind of kept her back and kept everybody back to just heal. I'm like, I need a doctor. Hurl's gone. Fox, you're on deck. I need you to spend a day healing everybody. We'll go out tomorrow. Uh, Bud, I want to say, is Bud or Gary lets me know like Fox is going to leave if the body count doesn't increase. Like,
Yeah.
okay, she wants to see more action. That's fine. Then we went and took like two sectors and came back and took a third sector and one person died. And so she quit because she's like, there's too much turnover at this place. I'm like,
Oh, come on,
you're killing me. You
Moody.
are killing me. Um, I got you your body count. What more do you want?
Yeah.
So,
The the other thing I forgot to mention this that drove me crazy is the way you cycle through guys in the overland map.
yeah.
It's not hard. It's just for some reason it didn't click in my brain. Like if you click on a guy, you'll get that little ring and
Yeah.
it'll center on them, but you haven't selected them.
Nope.
It's still whoever was previously selected. I wasted so many movement
There's
points and
some
made so
UI
many bad
issues that are
decisions.
so
Yeah.
bad. And this is why I
Space
recommend the
cycles
second
through
one.
them. Yeah, yeah,
They cleaned up a lot of the UI in Jagged Alliance too.
yeah. But
Uh,
that drove me nuts. Like I hated that, and I constantly did it, even though I
yeah.
knew better. Like there's a bunch of different ways you can do it: space bar, double click the portrait, single click on the overland map.
Function keys.
Yeah, function keys. Uh,
And here's one of the fun things for me. If you're in this map, like this tactical map, and you hit a function key, you got to double tap it. If you do the page up or page down to change how the map looks, you only have to single click it.
yeah, not
It's
consistent.
not consistent at all. And it's just mildly frustrating. And
Yeah, yeah. Here's more of you shooting into trees.
mm-hmm.
The other thing is to always take a medic, and
Always take a medic.
there was a time that I thought like that I used the first aid kit in the field and the surgery kit. There's two different medical kits,
Mm-hmm.
but no, use the surgery. Don't use the first aid kit unless you
Have to.
absolutely have to, and bring two of them
Yep.
always, or a
Yep.
first aid kit and a surgery kit, whatever you have to
Yeah.
do.
I thought
Because
repair kits could get used in the field. I haven't seen a way to do it.
yeah, I thought that's how you unjam guns, but you unjam guns by firing
Firing
it
them
more and
again,
more, which is kind of goofy.
which could cause it to break. I've broken guns by firing them too much.
Hmm.
Um,
But what else can you do? Like,
yeah. Yeah, and so you got to maintain your equipment. So you might have to leave a guy back at camp doing nothing but repairing for a day with a stack of equipment on him that he's going to repair. Like so this game is doing everything it can to keep you from sending people into the field.
right? Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah. uh, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, probably repairing equipment is more fun than this overland combat map.
Yeah.
That to me was like like I keep saying,
Yeah.
uh, because there's so many good things about this game, uh,
I think it
but
was.
ultimately it
Yeah.
just fell flat. I thought.
Yeah. I think it came right at a time where there wasn't much else out like this, so it kind of carried through on not having any competition. It was at an era where um, these were relatively good graphics, you know.
Hmm.
And I like the little cutscenes like that lock thing he's doing there that kind of
Yep.
show stuff. I think that's fun. We kind of talked about fantasy, how Commodore 64 had the pick lock thing. I like
Hmm.
little touches like that in a game.
The
And it did.
drowning one is great.
Drowning one's
It's like
great.
a hand that comes out of the water.
It's,
It's so good.
so there were little moments that made this game stand out too, even on its own merits.
Hmm.
But there's better games now. And sometimes I say we lost something, and I think we lost the tactical map from this game, but I don't know that we really lost anything else. Um,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I mean it's a very unique game.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't know, like with some different just some different map styles. Like it's cool to storm buildings. Like you feel
Yeah.
like you're tactically, you get your guys lined up. It's satisfying to do that. Not as satisfying as XCOM where you could just blow the hell out of the side of the building and go in,
Right.
but still, uh,
Still satisfying, but it's those moments are so far and few between, and most of your time is spending action points walking through trees, trying to keep your team together, trying to keep the slow guy in pace with everybody else,
yep,
and just having some guys reserve shots in case somebody comes out.
yep.
Um,
Oh yeah, that's another tip is if right click on the portraits and
to reserve
reserve
shots.
shots, you're gonna have to turn that on and off a lot.
Yep.
Did you use the max aim option? Like you can tell them to
No,
reserve, and then you can also tell them to always use max.
no. I usually like to kind of try and figure out balance my number of shots in the air versus how many points, because that's part of what I like about the gradation. If you can add up to 5 action points to do aim, so
Hmm.
sometimes I might want to add, like adding all 5 will mean I only get 1 shot, but adding 3 might mean I get 2.
Hmm. Right.
So, and it depends. Like, is he close enough? Do I think I'm going to get a second shot? Is he really healthy? Do I need to put a lot of bullets in him? Again, I love that part of the game,
Hmm.
but I really don't ever want to play this again.
Yeah. It is kind of a plan for the worst type game,
Hmm.
uh, where you pretty much expect to fail all the time, just because at least early in the game, m- most of your shots don't land.
Yeah.
Most of their shots do.
Hmm.
Like they don't have the same struggle shooting through the bushes that I did
No. Not unless you hit him
because
a couple times. Once you hit him a couple times and they're wounded, then yeah.
yeah, and they run away too when they're critical, which is probably makes sense, but man, it's annoying.
It's it's annoying. There have been a couple times they've run away and bled out on me, and I just suddenly I've gotten the sector because they've just bled to death somewhere in a hump, and I'm
Oh,
like,
that's good for you. I mean,
for
not for
me,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Uh,
don't know.
the the other thing too, the other tip is to definitely look at the uh, quick reference sheet because otherwise you won't know to use Z to look at what signs say and shit, and to look
Yeah,
at
I
things
always
on
was
the ground.
struggling like how do I like? There's a right click way to bring it up, but yeah, the it doesn't always work. Z is what you need to do that. Basically, if you're gonna play this game, and I don't not recommend it, but I also am like, if you missed this game or you started at the second one or whatever else, you're not missing much. I don't feel. Um, any particular love for this game anymore. Get to know the instructions first. Have that
Yeah.
be like get used to the controls, get used and not read the instructions, but go into the game and spend a lot of time on each screen getting to know everything and using your quick things. And you start out in the first sector controlled by you, sort of in the middle with all these buildings and stuff around. Explore them. Go
Yeah.
take maybe a sector that day, but spend your time learning to use your troops in that first sector before you even push out into the game, just to get the hang of things.
Yeah. See if you can find yourself some vests,
Find yourself
some
some
more
best.
ammo.
Take a couple shots just to practice. Okay, if I do this, it does this. They're shooting at me. Yeah.
And the other thing I would recommend too, well, it seems obvious now, but always make sure you hire the maximum number of tappers that you can. Uh, because I thought, oh, I'm hiring tappers. It's going to cost me money.
No.
No, it's the opposite.
Opposite.
You need the tappers. They don't cost you money. They give you money.
Right. Tappers give you money. Guards cost you money.
Right.
But guards are important if you want to keep your tappers.
So who's paying the tappers? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's coming out of the overall.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But you're not going to have a tapper earn less than they got out of the tree.
but basically, don't start your day until you totally understand everything on that screen.
On each screen.
Like,
Don't leave a screen until you really feel like, okay, I get this. I really get what's going on here. It's going to make, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, it's going to make playing the rest of the game feel better if you take the time to really learn it. Because once you're in battle, that's not when you want to be like, what am I doing here again? What am I? And that's how I started. Like, I jumped right back in and was like, I don't remember everything.
Yep.
And this is from an era where you can't remap your keys or go look at a screen that shows key bindings. There's no instructions in the game.
Right. There's no tutorial.
No tutorial. Yeah. So.
But also, don't feel obligated to play it because
No, you're not missing anything by not. But at the same time, you might have fun if you like tactical action point based turn games and you've played all the others. It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's out there. It's like good old games and Steam. Steam's the one that blows me away. It's okay. It's just okay. And you're comfortable with casual racism.
Right. Right. Against everyone.
That's the thing. Against everyone. There's nobody who's like comes out looking good.
It's like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Like that game
if
is
you can
so
play
racist.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out and be like, yeah, that's what this is. It's a perfect analogy. Because Mike Tyson's Punch Out is horribly racist.
Yeah, you're like fighting one racial stereotype after another, and some of them are really like obscure, like Turkish. Like I had to go Google some of those stereotypes because I didn't know.
No.
So yeah, so like if
you're okay with that and you can get past it and it's not gonna, you go in knowing like this is a game from a time where probably should have known better, but
yeah, but it's
we
weird
know better now.
There's like an environmental message because really the ultimate resource is these trees and
right.
Well, it's interesting.
And my wife and I were talking about this because she was listening. Like she heard, I'm trying to remember who said something, but from behind me I heard, "Oh hell no!"
It was probably Tex.
I think it was probably Tex. No, I think it was the guide. You eventually get a native guide, and he says something, and she's like, "Oh hell no!"
Yep.
But we were talking about it in comparison to like you think about shows from that time, like Frasier. Star Trek Next Generation. Like these are liberal shows. These are shows that are pushing this liberal agenda. And you go back and you watch them now and you're like, you're still kind of sexist here every so often. You still haven't quite crossed some of the hurdles you need to cross. So if you can forgive the time and it's not going to bother you that much. Obviously it bothers me a lot. because I didn't expect it. It I think it's more a bothering me of me that I didn't even notice it the first time, and now that I do, it's more a self judgment than a
Yeah,
condemnation of the game.
yeah,
Um,
and it won't bother some people. Like
no, and I
some
won't
people
think
won't be
less of
offended
somebody
by
who
it.
doesn't bothered by it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's fine. Like,
yeah, but
uh,
bothers me.
but it's
It's in
definitely
there.
there. Yeah,
There.
it's
I'm not going to recommend this and have somebody go, "Did you know Tex was in here?"
right.
Yeah,
Or
I
I forgot
did.
about the guides. The guides are pretty
Yeah, I actually
pretty bad. That
this
might
is
be worse than text, actually.
uh here's what I was gonna do. Like I wanted to I put a couple screenshots. I was gonna do more. Um so let me pull this.
Like a slideshow of racism.
Is it racist?
um, no, not
No.
not
It
not really.
I think it's the native assistants for some reason felt a little racist, but here is the first text I got from that native assistant.
He's setting this up. That's the problem. Right.
This
Not
area
cool.
have big building, like doesn't even know what warehouses are. He's some native hick thing with a
Yeah.
really bad native accent, and Nina heard this and went, "Oh hell no."
Right. And the joke is not funny.
Joke's not
That's
funny.
that's
It
the thing. It's
it's
just like, look what an idiot this native guy is.
and it's a joke that gets hammered a couple times.
Yeah.
And it's the humor rule of you punch up, not down. You never make fun of somebody who's less advantageous than you or doesn't have the things you have.
Right.
Um, so
Yeah.
so anyway,
Yeah. And
I
like this
can't not talk about it,
lumberjack
but at the
whole
same
thing.
time, I don't want to overhype it because most of it's my own white guilt.
I
And
like that you named it. Is it racist too?
well, the first one was, is it
Is
racist
it
one?
racist one? Yeah. The second one makes the first one racist because then he's setting up. The
Yes.
big setup is that he's a native. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The intro with Jack and Jack's doctor
Daughter.
daughter with the hair and the cutoffs.
Your
She's
hair
got
in the, yeah.
like like Daisy Dukes.
Mm-hmm.
That's very like 80s
It's
action movie.
very 80s. I immediately looked at her and I'm like, you're not telling you're yeah, she's a doctor and that's great, but you are not making her a doctor in this. This is not what I'm supposed to be taking away from this image.
Right. She's not Jack's respected peer in
No.
in the science field.
No. So yeah, it's little stuff like that that just I don't know, ground on me a little bit.
And Jack he's got like a Bob Vila beard,
He
which is
does.
great.
Yeah. No,
He's a
there's
handsome guy.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff I really wanted to like about this game and then this damaged it, but what really kills it for me, why I will never go back, is not even this. Because I can play Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I'll play it again. I might play it tonight.
Can't can't beat it, but I'll play it.
I can't beat it, but I'll play it. It's the walking around trees. It's the
Mhm.
endless hide and seek that's taking up hours of them just saying, like, "Yo, yo, yo,
Yep.
yo."
And at some point, you'll need to get from two very close spots on the map, and you'll do it, and you'll find out that the path to get there is going to take 100 action points because you have to go around a huge wall of trees, and you're just going to say, fuck this.
Yep.
That's where I found myself many times
Hmm.
in combat. Like, oh, I have to walk around this wall of trees. Everyone's going to be dead by the time I get there.
Right. I would have even been okay with like moving past a tree costs more action points.
Sure. Just give me something.
Give me something. If there's nobody left in here, let me move slowly through trees.
Hmm. But those are the experiences that
Yeah.
took me out of it. Right in the beginning, when you're shooting through bushes and not hitting ever,
Right.
and having to sprint across open terrain while they sit in their bulletproof bush and rain lead down on you. Like that is not really fun. And having to hunt for vests.
Right. And I understand that pistols aren't the most accurate guns ever, but come on, cut me
Yeah.
a bit of slack here.
Yeah.
Um, all right.
In the yeah. Anyway, we've harped on it
I was gonna
enough, I
say
think.
we're starting to retread our gripes, and the game's old. It needs some dings from a user interface standpoint. It's got some good implementation in terms of how action points and stuff go. It's got some bad ideas in terms of just how crafting and stuff works and how some of the other things work. It's a middle of the road game.
Yeah. If you're interested, play the second one. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, start there. I like the second one a lot,
Yeah.
but I
Fixes the
also
UI
haven't played
shit.
it. Yeah, I haven't played it recently, so I can't speak too much for it. But I know I went to watch video to make sure I'm remembering that it fixes the UI shit, and it
Yeah.
does. Like once you've taken a sector, you can pull up the inventory of the sector and switch. That's huge,
That is huge. Yep.
huge. Um, that you can draw a box around all your people and tell them to move, or draw a box around four and tell them to go here, and a box around these four and tell them to go there after people are cleared out, but then the rest of the time's action points. There's a little more variation to the scenery. The graphics are slightly better. It gets rid of, like, if we. Let me pull this back up. Here's one of my other things that's kind of a gripe. This view box is so small because all of this is here, and you can turn it off, but then you lose your squad information. Like, how wounded
Right.
are they? Is there somebody I need to get something to? I like having all that. And the stuff up here at the top. Jagged Alliance 2 gives you one nice bar at the bottom, gets rid of
Yeah.
all this, and lets you see the map. Gets you right in at seeing the map, and I love that.
Yeah. And the map view, there's an overland or a local map view of the sector,
Sector.
but it sucks. You can't see where anything is. You can't move around very well.
No,
So,
there's blinking dots that let you know what's supposedly in one of the squares, but you
yeah.
don't necessarily know what that blinking dot means. And so,
Yeah.
anyway, let me turn this off. Whoop, pull this over here. Because next month, I should say, not next week, we are doing Ultima 3.
Yay. Exciting.
Exciting.
Ultima's always like, you know what you're going to get, and it's going to be fine.
Yep.
I mean, the early Ultimas.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about some of the misses in the Ultima collection some other
Yeah.
day, but
Yeah, we will cover someday if I can stomach it.
yeah.
Like, yeah, Ultima 2 for me is it's so bad. And there are people in the Ultima community who love Ultima 2.
Hmm.
So that'll be a fun one to review.
I think three and four seems like a transitional
Yes, very
period for
transitional.
Ultima. So
So,
we played four,
mhm,
uh, which I overall liked,
yes.
but I'm looking forward to three just for more of a old fashioned role playing
Right.
experience.
3 is my first big into CRPGs. Like, I'd played stuff at friends' houses. I'd played a couple here and there. But actually getting to sit down and play this was huge for me.
So this was formative for you.
This
So I
is
should
very formative.
I'll treat it with the appropriate amount of
Oh
respect.
no, damage it, beat it to hell. I've played it so many times now.
Yeah.
That for me, yeah, it's. I don't want to give away too much because I want you to I want to hear how you played it. Because
Yeah.
unlike Ultima 4 and on, there's a definite here's your virtue system, here's what you got to do to win the game. This doesn't have that.
Hmm.
This doesn't have that. This doesn't care. This this is Questron. This is fantasy. This is
Right.
doesn't care. Just there's a bad guy at the end. Go get him.
Yeah.
And there's some neat little things within the game that make things easier, and read the manuals, of course.
Yep.
They are still Garriott fluff manuals, so they give you some information, but mostly it's just lore and fluff, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, I don't know what else to say about it other than next month, Ultima
Yep.
3.
Be
Oh,
there or be square. What?
we have we've added a Google Sheet for people to suggest
Oh
upcoming
yeah, yeah.
games. I will put it in the notes at the bottom.
Yeah,
Um,
we got one great suggestion, I think, in the comments. What was it?
Lords of Midnight.
Lords of Midnight. So we've been looking into that. That looks great. I'm excited about that.
I'm really excited about that. I want to do Ultima 3 because I need sort of a personal touchstone, go back to my childhood moment. And then next month will be October, and we'll want to do a Halloween one.
Oh yeah.
So we'll want to do something scary. But I have a feeling in November we're doing Lords of Midnight because
Yeah.
I'm so excited about a game that I'm completely blind to. I have
Yeah.
no idea anything about it beyond it's Lords of Midnight, and it's a strategy war game. Also, it's an RPG, and it's looks crazy. It looks absolutely
Yeah.
crazy.
It does look bananas. I'm excited about it.
I'm so excited about it too. Um, that is, of course, and this is one of the things we're going to start doing as of this review. RPGs might be multi-month reviews. So if we get to the end of this and we're not done with Ultima 3, or I should say you're not done with Ultima 3, um, we may extend it a month and then do a small game review, not review, discussion,
Discussion.
uh, to go with the follow up. Because I want to eventually do Magic Candle, and
Hmm.
we're not going to get through it in a month. We might not get through it in 2 months.
Wow.
So we're going to need some way to do that and still bring some new stuff in. So we'll see how that works when we get to it. But I'm just sort of saying, if you don't get done with it this month, we'll still do a video next month of how far you got, and then maybe a little something else the following month.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a lot of these games change so much as you go through them. Like probably if I'd gotten farther in this game, maybe I would have wound up liking it more.
Right.
Because I just thought you blow open a door and that was pretty cool. Uh, but it's hard to like get over the hump in a month and like get a good understanding of the game.
Well, and this is part of why I'm saying these aren't reviews. To me, part of the
Right.
discussion is, did you stop here? Did you literally want to stop playing and don't want to play anymore? Then we're done. If that's
Yeah.
an hour in, if it's 5 hours in, if you play through it 3 times in the month,
Hmm.
I want to know, I want to have that discussion. I don't necessarily care that we finish it. And this is why it's not a review. We
Yeah.
haven't finished it. We're not always giving them a fair shake. Sometimes
No.
it's a personal thing. It's just our opinion,
Right.
man.
Right. And it's a lot of it's tainted with nostalgia and like so many other things
There's
and
personal stuff twisted up in this. I can't wait to
yeah.
talk about the nostalgia aspects of this next month for me because I think the story is interesting.
Yeah, are you
Um,
going to get overly emotional as you
I
did
might.
earlier in this
Yeah,
broadcast when you
well,
were
I mean,
discussing?
I don't know that I'll top those kind of tears, but
Yeah, probably not going to be a regular segment there.
I the Chris loses a bet segment. No.
Yeah, well, we gave it a shot.
I'm looking forward to your losing a bet segment though. Um,
Oh no.
yeah, it'll happen eventually.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm wrong all the time. Like
Yeah, but you
I got
usually
no
don't
problem
bet on it. My problem is I'm like, I'm right and I know it. It's right around here. You want to bet on that? Like I looked it up. I know where it is.
I hardcore Googled it. Like I asked Google the question, "Where is the entrance to the cave?"
Yeah.
And you
No.
like got the map out and
I just looked up the
like
map and I'm like, the cave
detailed
goes
it.
here. It should be here. This is where the exit should be.
Yeah, no, you did it wrong.
I did it way wrong. I did it. I still tried to like half. I didn't. I half cheated. I didn't full cheat.
Right, I went all out. I
You went
fully
on,
cheated.
and thus I didn't know where the cave entrance was. And that is why you are a smarter man than me, as I said earlier in this conversation.
Yep.
All right.
At length.
All right. Enough messing around.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.